Hi, my name is Meilun, and I am a 17-year-old high school student from Canada. I'm also the founder and president of a nonprofit called The New Gen. It's a federally and recognized nonprofit in Canada, and our mission basically is we want to provide STEM and art opportunities for marginalized youth in our country. Examples of those groups may be immigrants, refugees, indigenous groups, and we provide them with STEM and arts education and hopefully promote their interest in those fields. So, a little bit about myself and who I am. So, my name is Meilun. I'm in grade 12. I go to Markville Secondary School. I'm the co founder and president of this organization. And, fun fact is, I also sit on the school board as the student trustee for York Region District School Board, which is the board my school is in. And I'm also the host of a podcast called the Next Supernova Podcast, which I'll be talking more about today. Okay, so basically, what does our organization offer? So, our goal ultimately is to provide more academic support in the areas of STEM and arts to underprivileged youth. And one way that we do that is through our free mentorship programs. So, we have collaborated with immigration and culture centers over 9 provinces in Canada, and we give the students at those centers free classes and tutoring sessions in art fields and subjects in STEM. Some examples that we have done recently is our collaboration with the Kamloops Immigration Service and the Vancouver Island Multicultural Society, but there is a lot more organizations that we partner with. And then we have volunteer student tutors who give out the free lessons to the immigrant youth. Another area that we focus on besides STEM is art. So we provide art opportunities to marginalized communities. One of the ways that we did that in the past is our art competition just for immigrant students. We had hundreds of submissions all across the country where immigrant youth get to really express their culture. And participate in their passion and get some recognition for their work. We also have expanded our efforts to give more art opportunities to Indigenous youth in Canada, as they're often a marginalized community here. So, one of the biggest initiatives we've done is the Northern Youth Art Gallery, where we shipped art from Indigenous young artists from 3 of the very northern territories in Canada. So, that's Nunavut, the Northwest Territories, and Yukon. So we shipped down over 20 pieces of art down to Toronto, and then we put on a week-long art gallery. So we actually rented out a art gallery, and then we put the display in there. And we really did that just to give an opportunity to Indigenous artists to be able to share their work. Okay, so on to our podcast. So it's called the Next Supernova Podcast. And basically, what our podcast aims to do, it's a part of our nonprofit, and we want to address global issues from a youth perspective. So we interview a lot of influential young people who has addressed a really significant global issue. For example, we've had youth climate activists. We had a young CEO. He was still in university and he invented this AI software that can help people study for their medical exams. So we have interviewed a lot of influential young people. We really just wanted to show that, young people can have a potential in any field they go into, and that young people are the future for, leadership. As well, we've interviewed people who mentor young people. So we've interviewed Harvard actors, we interviewed executives from the World Bank. As you can see on the side, we interviewed a journalist for the New York Times. We interviewed the past US Transportation Secretary. And all of these amazing leaders, they have mentored young people in their careers. So they really can share their approach to global issues through the perspective of a mentor and share, what they think the next big impact would be from youth. So that's a little bit about our podcast. You can find us on Spotify. And here's a little bit of the community support that we've received and some of the features that we've gotten. So, we have been invited recently to do an interview on Money Matters, which is run by the organization that's hosting this. So, you guys should definitely check it out. It was a really fun interview. I've also been invited to do a TED Talk at TEDx Havergal regarding the art gallery that my nonprofit has put on. We've been featured on Omni Television, and we received recognition from the Minister of International Trade here in Canada. Okay, so here's some ways that you can contact us, learn more about the organization, and get involved. So the website is there along with our Instagram and our email and a code to all of our other social medias. We're really active on social media, so we really recommend everyone to reach out. And I think that as a high school student who's running an organization, it's really tough and it's definitely taught me a lot of things. I started this organization when I was 15 years old with my sister. This was during the pandemic, when school was all online. And I've decided, you know what? I noticed that a lot of communities in, my country, so immigrant communities, indigenous communities, they're not getting the same opportunities in the fields of arts and STEM as other communities. So I wanted to make a difference and really try to do something. And it was very scary because, as a student, I've never met really any one of my peers who have started an organization. So getting started was intimidating, filing the paperwork for that, building a team. We have a team of over 50 volunteers, and we have an executive team too. So managing all of that was definitely very intimidating. But I think one thing that I really learned from my experience in running this organization is that you got to do what scares you. Like, even if it's intimidating, even if you think, oh my goodness, what if this interrupts my studying? What if this, makes me super busy and I have no time for friends and family? If you believe in your cause, which I 100% do, then, sometimes you got to sacrifice some things like, time with friends and family, in order to make the impact that you want to. And another thing is that I started this organization because of my personal experience. So I immigrated to Canada when I was 4. And as an immigrant, really struggled with making friends and with academics because I didn't understand English. So I would have loved the resources that my organization provides. I would have loved it if it was available for me when I immigrated to Canada. So really, I wanted to give back to my community and provide that help that I never received, so that the next generation of immigrant youth won't have to go through some of the struggles that I went through, and they'll be able to, develop their hobbies in STEM or the arts and make friends through those classes, and they won't have to worry about that. So it definitely means a lot to me. Um, and as a podcast host, aside from just running the nonprofit, because really our podcast is how we reach out to our community. It's definitely helped me like learn how to talk with people, interact with people, make small talk, make conversation. Because if you think about it, every podcast interview, it's kind of like one big presentation or one big speech where you have to make the other person comfortable, you have to make jokes, you have to, make it interesting because no one wants to listen to a boring podcast. So it really taught me a lot of communication skills. That's been really helpful, especially as a young person. And especially like after going through COVID, which definitely hit a lot of high schools, and people lost the ability to truly communicate with each other, because everything was just online. So hosting my podcast really brought me outside of my shell and outside of my comfort zone. So it's definitely helped me grow not only as a leader, but also grow some soft skills that will help me in the future. And if I had a piece of advice to give to all of the youth out there who want to start their own nonprofit or business, they want to be an entrepreneur, I'd say to find your community, find people who help you because I definitely had mentors who helped me. And just don't think about the what ifs, don't think about what might happen, just to go for it. And STEM and arts changed a lot of the lives of the students that I was trying to impact. And it's definitely one of the reasons why I did this project is because of the impact. So, um, an example of this is a lot of the immigrant youth who attend our tutoring sessions. I've had parents, like their parents, reach out to me saying, "Oh, my son or daughter is much more social now. They've made friends through your tutoring session, or my daughter developed an interest in dance when she wouldn't have considered it before." As for the impact that was felt by the indigenous community through our art gallery, we had a lot of the artists we feature write back to us saying that they really appreciated a chance to just showcase their art down south because in the northern parts of Canada, it's much harder to receive recognition as an artist. It's much harder to market your work. And that's because of a variety of factors. One of them being it's very isolated from major population centers in Canada. So having their artwork brought down to Toronto definitely really helped them with, marketing their art. And as well, they were really grateful. Some of the artists sold their works, they did commission work. They were really grateful for the new audience, the new customers that um, the art gallery helped bring to their small business. And we're again all about supporting small businesses as well. So that's some of the impact that our organization has, and I hope we'll continue to have as we expand our network of students. And in the coming months we hope to either host another art gallery or switch it up and do a film festival, and again, make it a platform for marginalized communities in Canada to share their interest. So, yeah, that's a little bit about myself and some of the work that I do. If you want to get involved, again, it's on the slideshow, our website, Instagram, email, QR code for you to scan. If you want to listen to our podcast, it's called The Next Supernova, and you can find it in Spotify. And I think that it's extremely inspirational for students, high school students, university students who are looking to make a difference in the world. So you could learn more about us there. And I'll be speaking at the conference. So definitely we'll be sharing a little bit more about my experience. And yeah, I hope that, everyone learned a lot and was inspired by maybe some of the work that we do. Thank you.